We are asked to solve the given equation. This equation is considered to be in quadratic form because if we perform a substitution, the equation will simplify to a basic quadratic equation. Looking at the equation closely, notice how we have one factor of the quantity x squared minus 23 here, and we have two factors of the quantity x squared minus 23 here. So if we let u equal the quantity x squared minus 23 and perform substitution, this will simplify the equation. 11 times the quantity x squared minus 23 is just 11u. And then we have equals on the right side, negative 18 minus the quantity x squared minus 23 squared is just u squared. Notice how now we just have a basic quadratic equation in terms of u. Let's set this equation equal to 0 and factor. Because we want the squared term to be positive, let's add u squared to both sides, which gives us u squared plus 11u equals negative 18, and now let's add 18 to both sides to set the equation equal to 0. This would give us the equation u squared plus 11u plus 18 equals 0. And now let's factor the left side. The first term is u squared, which is equal to u times u, and the terms in the second positions will be the factors of positive 18 that add to positive 11. And because 9 times 2 is equal to 18, and 9 plus 2 is equal to 11, the two factors we need are positive 9 and positive 2, which means one binomial factor is u plus 9, and the other is u plus 2. Now that we have it factored in terms of u, we want to write it back in terms of x by substituting the quantity x squared minus 23 for u here and here. Performing this substitution gives us the quantity x squared minus 23 plus 9 from the first binomial, and for the second binomial, performing the substitution gives us the quantity x squared minus 23 plus 2. And now let's simplify. X squared minus 23 plus 9 simplifies to x squared minus 14, and x squared minus 23 plus 2 simplifies to x squared minus 21. Notice now we have the equation factored in terms of x, and the product on the left is equal to 0 when x squared minus 14 is equal to 0, or when x squared minus 21 is equal to 0. And now we solve both of these equations for x. Let's isolate the x squared by adding 14 to both sides, which gives us x squared is equal to 14. And now to solve for x and undo the squaring, we square root both sides of the equation. But remember, we are going to have two solutions, and therefore we include a plus or minus on the right. Simplifying, we have x equals plus or minus the square root of 14, which doesn't simplify. Or, solving this equation for x, we add 21 to both sides, giving us x squared equals 21. And then square rooting both sides of the equation to undo the squaring. Again, we include a plus or minus on the right. Simplifying, we get x equals plus or minus the square root of 21. Again, neither square root simplifies, so we would need a calculator to get a decimal approximation. And notice how we have four solutions: x equals positive or negative square root 14, or positive or negative square root 21. Before we go, let's verify these solutions actually satisfy the original equation. It is quite a bit of work to do this. Here's to check for negative square root 14 and positive square root 14. Again, we substitute these values back into the original equation, and notice how the last statement is true in both cases, verifying both values are solutions. And here are the checks for negative square root 21 and positive square root 21. Again, notice how in both cases we get a true statement in the last equation, verifying both are also solutions. So again, we have four solutions: plus or minus square root 14, or plus or minus square root 21.